Hello everybody, welcome to a new content creation channel I have made, James, called Beyond 426. It is a channel where we talk about everything to do with Alien that is beyond the timeline of the cinematic universe and within it, and I try to keep it all in like a tight space so it's easily digestible. And in the future, I will be releasing videos of deep dives and a few reports for people to kind of get their teeth into and start asking questions. But today, I'm going to be talking about the new teaser trailer for Fede Alvarez's, sorry if I butchered that name, Alien Romulus that came out. And I'm going to be deep diving all the little details within the game, within the video, and kind of going by a timeline, when this was set, where it's set, and some potential problems and some potential solutions, but mostly it's going to be an informative lore dive. Okay, so I think the first thing I want to talk about is this ship here. It appears to be Weyland-Yutani, quite similar to the shuttle in Covenant that you see. It is, I think, probably going to be how our party get onto this station. And you're going to hear this a lot from me, but this is very reminiscent to the beginning of Alien Isolation, where Amanda Ripley and her crew are called to Sevastopol. And it's very similar to that, and you're going to be hearing me referencing that a bunch through this trailer. And in the same image, I also want to talk about that this appears to be some kind of gas giant or similar due to the rings. I do want to mention, for some reason, this franchise absolutely loves gas giants and rings. LV-426, LV-223, and also Alien Isolation. There it goes again. And also this movie takes place around a gas giant, potentially, and some rings. So I just find that interesting. Also, the station here looks like Sevastopol, just a little bit more rounded. It's potentially Seegson in make, but it's most likely at this point been absorbed by Weyland-Yutani. And speaking of Seegson and Weyland-Yutani, we're seeing interior here that's very similar to Alien Isolation, changed slightly, but also there's just similarities to Alien Isolation. The blinds, the door styles, the icons above doors, boxes, buttons. There's even some interior that's similar to the Nostromo aesthetic here. You got the cryotubes, which are similar to Alien tubes, the tubes in Alien that everybody comes out of, but they're in like a pod structure where cryopods slide out from, which I think is a new design because I've never seen that before. I absolutely adore this facehugger scene. It reminds me of Alien's Dark Descent. Right at the beginning of that game, there's this really cool swarm of facehuggers, and I remember when I was playing that game last year, I was thinking to myself, I'd love to see this in a cinematic world. So it reminded me of that, and I can't wait to see it. Next up, we have a very sweeping, wide corridor with a flare, which, again, I'm sorry, but Alien Isolation, this entire trailer, they've taken incredible care, detail to include all these bits from Alien Isolation, and I'm so excited. So we see this guy here, maybe a synth here, looks like a Weyland-Yutani synth. I'm not 100% though. He's got a Weyland-Yutani overall on, or rather they have a Weyland-Yutani overall on, and they have kind of a very realistic looking face, and Weyland-Yutani, their synths are well known to make realistic androids. It's why they bought out Seegson, because Seegson made these working Joes, which were specifically made because people were creeped out by Weyland-Yutani synths, but they just didn't like working Joes because, the whole murdering thing, you're being hysterical, etc. So then we got the realistic synths kind of taken over because of Weyland-Yutani and Hyperdyne. So I think maybe that is a synth, but we'll see, because they look like they're in another scene, and they look like they're helping our heroes. So we'll see where that goes. I can't show it on TikTok, but that facehugger, if that is a facehugger removal and it is successful, it means it's the first time a removal of a facehugger has been done on somebody in the cinematic universe, which is kind of huge. It's been done a few times. I say a few times, probably a handful of times in the expanded universe and in other content and novels, but it actually hasn't been done much at all, just over all content. So to see that in the cinematic is dope. Also, I think it's kind of a callback to Alien vs. Predator Requiem, if anybody remembers that scene. Yeah, very gross. I love it. I don't know much about this scene. It looks like a storage room, but that door, when the ship is rocking around and the icons above it, that's in Alien Isolation. This is a ship that's created by Seegson. That's confirmation, and I will talk a little bit more at the end about what my theories are. So I said earlier on that we saw the synth, and I think this is where we see him. He is by that door there, and if you watch the video, you see, and you keep going backwards and forwards, you'll see he moves his arms in a very robotic kind of way. So I think we have another situation of either a synth being a good guy or a bad guy here, a la, Bishop and Ash, which I fully endorse. I mean, with the Alien RPG, it's one of their main mechanics in the game, actually. So, and it's a big part of Alien RPG and like AI, and it's also current events, as well. So, I am very excited to see how this synth is going to work out. If that is indeed the person in the overall earlier, but it does look like their gait and how they stand and the way they're putting their arms around. Alright, so we have arrived at the butt end of the video, and I wanted to just leave that clear because I think this is the most important part of the trailer. We see Kaylee Spaney, who I believe, my theory, and I've had this theory since this movie has been announced, just because of what Fede Alvarez said. It's set between Alien and Aliens, and we know who also had adventures during the years of Alien and Aliens, during the years of 2122 and 2179. Amanda Ripley, her daughter. Now, based on current tech that we see at the end here, this movie could be set in the late 2130s or early 2140s. Evidence for this is based on the tech of the station that the movie is on, first of all, because Alien Isolation takes place in 2137. So all of this stuff you see in Seegson's manufactured. However, after Alien Isolation in 2137, Seegson was absorbed by Weyland-Yutani. In fact, it was happening during the game at that point. So it's likely that this station is owned by Wei-Yu, which, this is probably why all these shenanigans are happening. One thing that isn't clear for me is the weapon that Kaylee has in her hand, or hands at the end, as it has the profile, bullet counter, and like the magazine of the M41A pulse rifle. But this weapon wasn't invented until 2171. This, however, it could be like discounted as the weapon was originally invented from parts of other guns and like some kind of ad hoc stuff. So the weapon that Kaylee has, it could be one of those guns that the inventor used. So, I mean, the biggest part of the evidence for this being Amanda Ripley for me is that gun and that stance, the stance she's in, and where she is incredibly similar to the end of Aliens with Ellen Ripley, which I'll show you a side-by-side here. And I think it's Amanda Ripley. Or there's going to be a tie-in with Amanda. I really hope there is. There's so much here leading to Alien Isolation and where we are at. I really hope it is. If it's completely new characters, I might be a little bit mad. But, I mean, it is what it is. But I just want some tie-ins with the comics and the Alien RPG and the novels. Like all the others, like they're all tying in each other. They're all kind of respecting the work that they're all putting out there. So I'd love to see some respect given to this work in the cinematic screen. Anyway, that's just been this video. This has been almost 10 minutes. Apologies for that, for our very first video as well. But yeah, I will catch you very soon with some other videos which are going to be a little bit more spooky and in universe. Until next time, James out.